Hi guys, it's Dee from the Chaotic Gardener, back with you again this week. It's been a bit of a drizzly rainy morning. It's been actually quite pleasant. We've had extreme heat, as I've mentioned before, and the garden has really battled with it because obviously with work I haven't been able to water too much, and I don't have any systems in place where the garden just gets watered by itself. So we've really enjoyed the rain that has just been kind of consistent since yesterday afternoon, and has definitely soaked into the ground. So that's been super cool. I thought this week I would take you on another tour of the back garden. So we've done a lot in the front garden. The back is not where it should be, and still lots and lots of work that needs to happen in it, bearing in mind that still more is happening in the front garden as well. So it's definitely a work in progress, and I'm going to show you the good, the bad and the ugly of it. So I haven't done much weeding in the last couple of weeks, definitely not on the back side of the garden. So yeah, it is what it is. Let's go and have a look. Here is the washing line section, and this is our very first garden bed that we built during the COVID season. And as you can see here, this area here needs a massive repurposing. In the winter months we get pine needles and we clear out all the weeds obviously, and we put pine needles that fall from a tree down the road, so that we've got a nice carpet going on there, and it looks nice and orderly. But this is definitely a space that I want to repurpose. Not sure what to do here, whether to put big homemade concrete pavers or what the thought process going forward is going to be. So I did have originally vegetables growing inside this container as well. Now I have amaryllis. Last season they were attacked by some caterpillars, but they're looking quite nice at the moment. Here is a self-seeded tomato and self-seeded zinnia, giving a pop of color here. And this is lemon balm and chocolate mint. It smells divine. So this bed I have decided I would like to make into a strawberry bed / herb bed, and that is still my intention. The strawberry plants have only produced 1 or 2 little strawberries for me this season, but that's okay. I think these are kind of new plants from runners, so they're probably still establishing themselves. And there I have a very overgrown dill, which also smells so nice, licoricey. And then my makeshift garden archway, which Rob is most disgusted about and is quite sure he's going to decapitate himself because it is quite short. I have a climbing rose growing over that. I haven't had a flower from it yet, but it is growing quite nicely and is looking quite healthy, so hopefully I will get a flower, if not this season, next season. And obviously I will intend on repurposing the archway too, so getting longer poles, you know, when you're just desperate to do something and you use whatever you've got lying around just so that it can be there and you feel satisfied. Well, that was this arch, and we will make the archway taller so that nobody loses any limbs. Here we have some thyme, and in the back there I have planted a new rosemary bush, and here we have some basil which I need to snip off the tops. And lots of rogue tomatoes. They are the pear tomatoes that are all over the place, and they like to grow beautifully by themselves, not under my conditions, so leaving them to do their thing. And here I have a dahlia and some empty space for some lovely flowers. Okay, so our back garden is kind of terraced. we have the washing line area, then we have our first terrace, which includes the swimming pool. The second terrace is a slightly narrow little green belt over there, and then the top terrace is where I intend on making my park-like garden. So 3 little rooms, so to speak. This section over here has got these grasses which have the green and white variegation on, which is quite pretty, and you'll see that this level is kind of, it's not a cottage garden thing, it's more a situation of flushes of the same kind of plant. I am contemplating I wanted to put white roses, miniature roses in here, but actually this rose over here was gifted to me, and it's a yellow rose. Obviously not at the moment, but it is, and it looks really, really beautiful. So I thought a pop of yellow amongst the green, the white, and my intention was purple with the, you can see on the Sheena's Gold we have purple flowers, which you generally don't see because I pom-pom these, so you generally don't see them. This one is looking very big at the moment, and it is lopsided because a couple of years ago when we had flood conditions, this soil is very, very soft and the tree started to fall over, so never quite went back into its original position. And I do have to trim it up there a little bit at the bottom. That one over here, this one over here completely died. It lost all its foliage, and this is the first season since, or I think it's been about 2 years now, that it's actually looked nice and full again. I have planted Gora in this section as well, and there next door to the Gora we have some lavender. It is not Margaret Roberts lavender. Well, I'm not sure what type it is, but it needs a trim. And so yeah, this section, some more Gora over there with the irises that grow beautiful white flowers on them. They're not flowering at the moment, and so I thought a pop of yellow in between all of this would be quite nice, and still be calming on the eye and peaceful. I don't want this to be necessarily a busy level. We do have we do have a makeshift fire pit here, also overgrown with weeds, and as I said, we have tomatoes popping up all over the place. And this area here has been the place where many fun-filled teenage parties have occurred and 21sts. So here we have the swimming pool, and this section over here is Venus, causing chaos inside today. So we had these pavers. This section, when we originally moved into this house, there were some, I think they're called ponytail palm trees here, 2 ponytail palm trees, and then a little bit of grass, but it always looked untidy and unkept, and the palm tree fronds would fall in the swimming pool and clog up the creepy crawly, so it was always a difficult area. And then one year I planted some, you will see here, and amongst the Monday grass I planted some mint. It's not the nicest mint. I want to say it's almost like wild mint. It doesn't have a very minty smell, and it doesn't taste very minty either, so but it is mint, and it does pop up in amongst the Monday grass all the time. And you can see it starting to pop up amongst the pavers there. But my intention is to get some nice pool lounges to be in this section, and this is the most happy I've been with these pavers here, apart from having to pull out the weeds all the time. It's kept it kind of ordered and neater. And then because this section here is it winds in and out, cutting pavers would have been a disaster, so I just planted Monday grass. Problem solved. And then I took some spare concrete pieces and I placed them at different levels here, going up here, so that this would have like a stepped terrace section, and planted some of these Russian daisies here, which are really, really lovely. And here we have lavender, which is ready for a trim back, I see. And then a Freylinia hedge. Which also needs a good trimming. I'm assuming you've noted by now a common theme here. Everything needs a trim or a weed. And then in front I planted, just a year, 2 years ago, I planted these lavender bushes. Again with the intention of keeping it all kind of similar tones and colors, restful for the eye, not too busy, but I do think a pop of yellow amongst there would be lovely. Originally we were gifted a whole bunch of aloes and other succulents from some friends, and we had planted them in this section, but they were looking a bit tatty and not so good, so we still have a couple there in the corner, but I wanted to make it a little bit more muted tones. But the aloes do look very beautiful when they start to flower, and those should be flowering in the next couple of months. And here, this, I'm not sure what this bush is, but it needs a huge trim, and underneath it is a hot mess. Oh my goodness, this is just terrible. But I have taken some of the succulents that were planted behind me, these, and they are filling in this entire space. Shouldn't have as many weeds as we do, and they are really pretty when they send up their little yellow stalks, and it's really, really pretty. This is my spirea, which gets tiny little white popcorn like flowers on. Really like that. So this overgrown pathway, this looks quite jungly, and wow, I need to spend a lot of time on this section of the garden. But this is also a newly repurposed pathway with the grasses on either side that just goes up. Monday grass on this side, up through the weeds into the top park-like garden. Here, as we come to the top of the stairs, we have a camellia. One is a pink and one is a white camellia. This bush here, I'm not sure what it's called, but it was taken from the front garden where it was overrun with aphids. We had 4 of them, and we dug them out and we planted them up here. We thought we had lost all 4, but looks like we've only lost 1. So that's making a nice hedge there, which we will trim up so that it looks more hedgy. But it's quite nice because it's blocking behind it all the rubble and stuff that has accumulated over the years. There, behind the hut and at the base of this tree over here, is a lot of grass clippings and leaves and waste from the garden over the years. The pile has grown bigger, but I'm sure there's lovely compost under there that we need to get into. So our intention is behind this bush to build some nice compost bins or bays, and then take some of that, put it into those compost bins for them to get ready, and then be able to keep repurposing in that way. All these plants that are up here, well, most of the plants that are up here, were all gifted to me from friends and family, and this little bank and section here is awful to mow. So my intention was to fill it with beautiful plants and flowers so that we wouldn't have to mow too much of it, definitely not the banky areas. So we're getting there slowly. We have these peace lilies over here, which are nice, that you can just easily separate and replant. Then these were given to me by a good friend, and fill in the space nicely. Nice pop of pink over there. These are in the background there we have some strelitzias and some other grasses which make a nice wall shading or blocking out the compost heap there. And then we have a whole bunch more of the lilies, so it just looks like a green bunch of chaos at the moment. But here we have a nice pop of purple, and I haven't wanted to pull too much of the grass out as I'm planting up here, because when it rains we have a lot of soil runoff from here, and it hasn't been very grassy, so it's made the soil has run down the bank over the wall, and we land up having a swampy brown pool all the time. So I'm kind of leaving the grass in amongst the flowers as I'm planting, so that until they're more established, so that we don't have a lot of runoff. So also the weeds are serving that purpose as well for now, until I can plant up more plants. Here in amongst the weeds you can see some coleus growing, and more coleus and more grasses. Here is a whole flush of the Russian daisies, and then these, I'm not sure what they're called, but they're also kind of like a daisy like runner. They run along, and I've got a mixture of yellow plants, and I think there's white in there as well. This here is our yellow hibiscus that came from the front when we planted the hydrangeas. We brought the hibiscus up here. It was flowering, so, and I think it has taken, because look here, we have new growth. So I think it is going to be fine, and it's going to be a lovely addition. A nice pop of yellow, and it's going to have space to grow nice and big, and it will be lovely, I believe. Some more coleus growing there and amongst the weeds, and we've got these, look at this, I love the leaves here, love that. I don't know why I do, but I just think they're so pretty. And so I've got a couple of those growing there, again not wanting to pull out too many weeds around them, while they get to take and spread a little bit more and then fill in that area. A nice bush, I've forgotten all the names of these things, to grow here with a lovely pop of white. These are clivias that have flowered once. Hopefully we'll get some more flowering. Look here, we're going to get a flower here, pretty. More Monday grass, which is supposed to line a border there for me, but anyway. And then this, look how lovely that is, such a beautiful pop of color. And then this is where we've lost a lot of soil, so as I garden I just fill it up with leaves and things that I pull out to build it up, and then we will continue to plant up in there share some of the peace lilies over to that side so that we've got a bit of continuity on both sides. But yes, and then we will just keep planting and adding to this section so that it feels it's lovely under here. This tree is definitely the what holds this section together and makes it so beautiful. We get hardy-dars building their nests in here, and so hopefully in the next season or two this will take greater shape and be what I envision it to be. I've also thought, and I'm not sure how practical it is, getting rid of a lot of the weeds definitely, of this section here, so the second terrace up here is building beds here to do cut flowers. The only problem is that we have lots of trees here, so it is very shady. So we would have to get rid of a couple of the trees in order to be able to plant up here so that I could do flowers. So there's lots of thoughts and plans constantly. You know, if you're gardening, you never stop dreaming and thinking of different things that you can do to improve what your garden looks like and how it flows and all comes together. And it takes time, it takes money, and it takes time. So sometimes you have to be patient and you have to prioritize certain areas over other areas, but that's all good too. So yes, this is definitely the more chaotic side of my life, and I'm not going to hide it because it is what it is. I thought I would just give you a quick look around on this lovely cool day. The weeds feel especially more chaotic at the moment after the rain, but that's to be expected, and things are starting to slow down, so we're not having to mow the lawn quite as often, so the change of season is just around the corner, and hopefully we'll get on top of things then. So yes, your garden towards the end of summer does become chaotic, more chaotic than normal, and if you are working and you've got other things to do, you do feel like you can't keep on top of it. If you have help, that's great, but if you don't and it's just you, then things do get out of hand. It is just a moment, it is just a season, and it will pass and you will get on top of things again. So take a deep breath, let it just happen. Weeds are not entirely bad. They do serve a healthy purpose to your soil and will be putting nutrients and things back into your soil as well. So I'm told. In my case, they are preventing runoff when we have heavy rains, so that's not a bad thing, and it's keeping my pool from being brown. So yeah, don't get overwhelmed is what I'm trying to say. Don't get overwhelmed, just keep going and look forward to the quieter season so that you can get on top of things and get excited about planning and finding exciting projects for the next season. So that's me for today. It's just a quick tour of my back garden, not too much to look at, but definitely plans and hopes in the pipelines. So hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have and you want to continue sharing on my journey, seeing if my pathways get built and how my park-like garden lands up turning out, then do like and subscribe to my channel so that we can journey together. Have a fantastic week. Until next week. Bye.